Hey, you guys. It's Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look. She's gonna fuck with me.
Well, we didn't. Well, you know, it's just funny how you're like not real enthusiastic about anything.
Yeah, I got to be real enthusiastic.
Well, yeah.
Is that what it is?
Come on.
Okay.
Let's have a good time. It's Sunday.
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Fuck Sunday.
We didn't even go. We didn't even go out last night. Well, it's that it's like
been spending so much money the past couple months.
That's what I'm saying because we've been going out a lot. I'm just like, I just need to rest, honestly.
Yeah, and that super chat money drying up.
I'm kidding.
Everybody's fucking out of work, man.
Well, it's like and also I'm getting old and it's like kind of hard. Like the last couple weeks we would do the show, for 3 or 4 hours, and then we'd go out afterward, and I was just like, that took me like 2 or 3 days to recover from that. Yeah. So it's just, I think last night we watched this movie, and then we watched, then I put on, Mystery Science Theater, and I think I fell asleep before the first, I think I fell asleep at, 9:30 or some shit.
I just invented a new drink.
Oh.
This is, it's half ginger tea and half apple juice. That shit is so good. Man.
Tastes like fall.
It's good.
A little bit.
And I just did that off the top of my head.
Man, I can't even wait. It's almost September.
I know.
It's still going to be hot here in the fall, but I can pretend at least. And then there'll be Halloween shit in the stores, and that'll be exciting.
I still haven't found the key to the lightning. I fucking turned this place upside down. Look, this was either a Pookie or a poltergeist. One of the two. And I can't understand where would a cat put a damn motorcycle key?
Well, she hid it good if she did hide it. I can't figure out where else it could be though.
It had if you guys don't know, it's got a little rubber handle on it, and she likes to chew on things that are rubber, and she gets up on the nightstand, and I think that's where I put it. I think she went up there and got it. Either that or the poltergeist got it. Yeah. Which means it could be inside the walls or something somewhere.
Well, maybe you should ask the poltergeist to give it back to you.
It was weird because I would a couple days before I went for that ride when I last rode that Lightning, riding the Lightning. It's a Buell Lightning XP9. But before I rode the Lightning, I was thinking I should get an extra key in case I ever lose one of these.
And then look, see?
Yeah.
So you did it.
Maybe.
Your poltergeist did it.
Maybe, but I found as long as I have the VIN number on the title and my ID to prove that it's me that has the title, Harley Davidson can make me a copy key for about $35. Takes about a week.
It's a lot cheaper than my car key was.
So I may have to do that. But man, I'm fucking pissed over this shit.
Yeah, he's torn this whole house up looking for that.
Anyway,
Louis
saw this. What's that?
Louis said, Jenny, I have an idea for a future show, The Flat Tire Murders. Yeah, I actually have that on the list because I think that took place in Florida, somewhere like DeLand or Daytona where I grew up. So, so that's definitely on the list. But, yeah, so we watched this one last night because a couple people had recommended it. I had been hearing a lot about this movie because I guess it played at a lot of festivals, and then it might have had, a brief, or a limited theatrical release. And then finally Shudder got hold of it. And I'd been wanting to see this one because, you know how much we love Barbara Crampton on this show. I mean,
Barbara looks great in this movie.
She's
got to be, 65?
I don't know how old she is.
She's looking just fantastic. And she had some facial work. I mean, she
is just cute as a button.
She doesn't quite look like the same person, but she looks fantastic. I'd like to know what kind of hormones she's on. It's some kind of hormone therapy.
Yeah, because she's pretty hot in this.
Yeah, she's still very attractive. She even pops her one titties out. Pops her titties. She's
yeah, good. You do get to see it. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, you do. You get to see.
This was a good movie. I liked it. I think it had strong points and weak points. I think the strong point was that it shot really well. The acting's really good. The story's pretty good. The weak point is I didn't really like the Master Vampire that much. It was kind of like a Mr. Barlow kind of thing, from kind of like a Nosferatu type.
Nosferatu, Salem's Lot, kind of, which I like that they were homaging that kind of vampire because you don't see as many of those in the vampire. But
the voice, I didn't like the voice of the vampire.
You know who that was playing? Playing the master? Yeah, it's the same woman that plays Valak, the nun from the Conjuring movies. You know what I mean? That creepy nun. Yeah. That's the same woman.
I guess they were trying to go for a fucking Carmilla lesbian vampire type thing, where it's like that. But it's a Nosferatu looking, but that's cool. I thought that was a good idea, but the voice isn't sinister enough for it. I liked how it looked.
Yeah, even though I think that was I can't remember that actress's name, Bonnie something, but yeah, she's best known for like playing Valak in the.
I would have rigged that voice up to be more intimidating, like something like a hissing sound or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sounded too much like a mortal woman.
Right.
And it had to sound a little unearthly. I think it would have been a little more. I think that's why in Salem's Lot, they never had
Mr.
Barlow actually say anything, because it might have dispelled the way that thing looked, because that was a fucking creepy looking vampire, real skinny.
See, and that's how you said, because you know in the book Salem's Lot, Mr. Barlow talks.
Yeah.
And you thought that he should talk in the movie. I don't think he should have talked in the movie. So I'm glad that they made the decision. Let's not make him talk. He's scarier when he doesn't talk. He doesn't need to talk. He's got like his human sidekick.
That was the 70s. Okay?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think the reason why he didn't talk is because it would have been hard to make an intimidating voice for that with the technology they had back in the 70s.
I generally think characters that don't talk are scarier than ones that do talk. In general, not always. Because you can project your own motives and stuff onto them. But like I said, that's not a hard and fast rule, obviously. But
because there are some out there like Darth Vader.
Well, yeah.
And
like I said, there's exceptions. That's
right. And Darth Vader's original voice was fucking Prowse, and it didn't sound good. They had to fucking fold in, Jones in there, and and then, of course, the whole breathing apparatus, and then the way that the voice was kind of modulated through, I guess, tubes, like a big speaking, and it fucking sounded really good. With technology today, you can make a fucking real intimidating vampire voice that is female, and get it done right. And the thing is that you don't give that character a whole lot of dialogue. Like, you know what I mean? I think Barlow should have spoke in Salem's Lot, but maybe not a whole lot of dialogue, but the voice had to be effective. And I don't think they could do the voice that well back in the 70s. Yeah. That's why they didn't do it. But it was in the book.
Yeah.
It would have to be a Darth Vader level sound effect. Yeah. And I think that was a little too much for a made-for-TV movie. But they could have done it here, I think.
Although, I mean, the Master isn't in it all that much. And like I said, I like when they kind of showed her at first, like she was just like in the shadows, like with the glowing eyes. They didn't really show her until the end. Yeah. I didn't mind the look of it. Like I said, I like that they were homaging more like the Nosferatu, Salem's Lot type of vampire rather than like a sexy vampire. So I like they're going more in that direction. I have like seen a couple. This seems to have gotten like pretty mixed to positive reviews. I think one issue that a lot of people had, some people had an issue. It's like, they thought the vampire was a little bit goofy, which I wouldn't go that far.
I think it was goofy, no.
But I don't think it was goofy, but yeah, I can get it. And a lot of people thought the tone of it was kind of strange, although that didn't really bother me. Now, this is Travis Stevens, the guy that wrote and directed this, or co-wrote and directed it, was the same guy that did Girl on the Third Floor. And you remember we did a matinee on that a while back. That was the one that had CM Punk, and he got that house, and like that had like weird, like, what do you call them, like what do you call those things that are inside your body? Organs. It's like organs, but I'm getting old, you guys. Yeah. Organs like behind the walls and stuff. And that movie had a same kind of thing where it just has like this strange tonal, because this is almost, I don't want to say it's almost a serious movie, because it's not, but it's not outright a comedy either. And so I think that some people might think the tone of it is a little weird. I didn't find that, but I can see how people would. So basically what the story is, Barbara Crampton, who, like I said, she was actually like a producer on this. She's been trying to get this movie made for a really long time. Because essentially, like, I think what happened was a couple years back, she got this screenplay and she really, really liked it. So she's been kind of like shopping around, like helping to get it made. You know what I mean? Because she really wanted to be in this. So she plays, Jacob's wife, Anne. She is this preacher's wife. He's a minister, I guess, played by Larry Fessenden, who is also fucking great. Now, the two of these, Barbara Crampton and Larry Fessenden, were also in a horror movie a few years back called We're Still Here, which is also decent, although I think I liked this one better. We're Still Here had some problems, some issues with it that, I couldn't fully get on board with it. But I think I like this one a little bit better. So Larry Fessenden plays Jakob Fetter, and he's like this minister in this small town. They shot this in Mississippi, I think.
Yeah, right outside Jackson.
Yeah. And so he's this kind. He's not like a bad dude. He's just kind of like, you know, him and his wife. They've been married a long time. He's kind of one of those, you know, wife should be submissive to the husband type of dudes, but not like in an overtly like real obnoxious. He's not a bad guy. Like I said, he's just kind of like clueless, and he's just kind of into the church.
He's a throwback.
Yeah, and he's just not real concerned about her feelings, but not in a way that is like malicious. It's just that it doesn't really occur to him type thing. So she's kind of like, I guess there was a point, because they kind of go into it a little bit in the movie, there was a point where she was kind of like, I don't know if she was like a wild child or anything like that, but she had like these big ambitions. She wanted to travel and live in Cairo and all this other kind of stuff. And then she ended up, like there was a tragedy, like her mom died or something, and then she ended up marrying the preacher or the minister, and they've been married all this time. And she's just kind of like this quietly like dissatisfied kind of housewife type character. So they kind of established that at the beginning. So it's almost kind of like, you know, it's not completely serious, but it's almost kind of like a serious relationship drama, like a little bit, like for the first like 10, 15 minutes of it. And then it comes to pass that an old high school boyfriend of hers, whose name is Tom Lowe, I think his name is, and he's coming back into town because they're going to like refurbish this big mill or something. And so he's come back into town to kind of look at it and see what they're going to do with it. And so they meet up with one another, and, you know, sparks start flying and whatnot. She doesn't like fuck him or anything like that, but she is kind of like, and he's kind of like, you know, what happened to you? I can't believe that you've been married to a minister for 30 years, and I never would have thought that would have happened. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. So there's that whole kind of aspect to it. Now, while they're in the mill, they find these old like crates and stuff, and there's like a bunch of rats and everything, which, like I said, very, very Salem's Lot, which very, very Dracula also, but Salem's Lot is kind of like an updating of Dracula, I guess. So then Tom Law gets, I guess, bit by the vampire, and then she gets bit by the master vampire. And because I should say too that there's like a little bit at the front where there's like a girl in town who they're talking to at the church at the beginning. She's going home and she gets attacked by the master vampire also. But so then, Barbara Crampton's character, Anne, essentially becomes a vampire, and she's kind of into it. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of a question of, well, you know, she's been married to this minister for all this time, and she's kind of had a boring, unfulfilling life, and now all of a sudden she can carry furniture around, and she's like all foxy, and she like feels like better than, she's like, you know, she's like gets to be all sexy and stuff. So it's like really interesting, like, and then it kind of gets funnier and funnier, like not zany funny, but like kind of funnier as she's sort of exploring this new aspect of her and how her and her husband like deal with the situation of her now being a vampire. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like that's kind of where the movie's at.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That aspect of it was pretty good. I think they should have stayed more in that realm. But you know, I don't know. It's a lower budget movie. They did well with what they had. The acting's good. You know, I think really the only thing that disappointed me was the vampire's voice. That was it. I would have had a much better voice. And that was really only one scene. I mean, she really only talked at the end. And I was like, oh well, yeah, that voice. It doesn't really, not really scary. Here's another good example of a Mr. Barlow Nosferatu style vampire. Klaus Kinski did a version which is extremely eerie, real eerie, because he was just so awkward. Yeah, he just made your skin so crawl. Awkward. He's just like, oh, and then you're like, dude, man, stop talking. You know? And he just like he had some kind of weird disease, and he was and he was like that, you know. And she didn't have that quality. It was just like a woman. Yeah, I haven't seen all the Conjuring movies, or at least all the ones with the nun in them. Yeah. But she doesn't talk. Does she talk? I don't know. I don't even know. I think I've only seen the nun, and then I can't even remember which Conjuring movie it was that first had the nun in it. Was it Conjuring 2? I don't even know. I might be able to put it on the director, who didn't direct her very well, or you could have done what she did do and maybe use some kind of special effects or some kind of voiceover. You know, she moved good. She looked good. The little outfit that she had was kind of like Nosferatu's outfit from the original movie.
Yeah.
With the high shoulder pads and button down the front. The costume looks pretty good. And it wasn't clear if she was a woman or not. Or if she was she wasn't a woman, she was a vampire. Whether the vampire was female or not wasn't really clear. Yeah,
you couldn't really tell from the movie because, like I said, she looked like Mr. Barlow. She was like bald, and then they looked like and they went very much with the rat-like, where it was just like two fangs in the front. Because even like Barbara Crampton has that at some point too.
Yeah.
So I like that they kind of went more old school with it. But like I said, it's almost kind of like I said, I kind of feel like some reviewers, like a lot of reviewers, like I said, gave it like, it's, a decent movie. But some people were like, well, I didn't really like the tonal shift. To me, the tonal shift didn't seem all that egregious. I mean, it had humor in it. It had a lot of gore. There's one particular scene that I'm thinking of that was that was really, really gory. But I actually like really enjoyed that. I think some people didn't like the, it's a serious relationship drama. But I don't want to go too much into saying serious relationship drama because it's not, that's overselling it. It's not a serious relationship drama. Oh, and by the way, there's vampires and that it's funny. It's to me, it seemed a lot more integrated, but maybe other people didn't see it that way.
My good friend Connor Vatslan says, if anyone wants to see a good dark Stragoi series, watch The Strain.
Yeah, I remember when we reviewed Blood Vessel, a bunch of people recommended that to us as well. So yeah, we will get around to that because I think Guillermo del Toro was involved in that too.
I'd like to see Blood Vessel again.
Yeah, that was a good, because that's another one that had old school vampires. Like I said, I like that we're kind of going back in the direction of making them old, yucky, ugly, rat-like monsters again instead of foxy, sparkly.
For people who don't know what a Stragoi is, a Stragoi was the original vampire. All right.
The OG.
Fucking what's his name? The dude who wrote fucking Dracula.
Bram Stoker.
Yeah, Bram Stoker. He kind of invented the vampire in a certain way based upon stories of Stragoi. And a Stragoi is not really a vampire. It was kind of like the prototype. Yeah, it drinks blood. Yeah, it's kind of like the undead, but it's also a sorcerer. Has a bunch of powers involved with black magic. But it can crossbreed with both the dead and the living. That's a weird thing. It can impregnate the dead. And then fucking from that, a child comes out that is half dead or a living dead. And then it can also impregnate a living person. And then that person is born a living vampire. That when it dies, it then becomes a vampire, but while it's alive, it fucking has certain abilities. It's a lot more complicated. The Stragoi was a lot more complicated. And its life cycle was a lot more interesting, I would think, than a vampire. But they're kind of described as rat-like a rat or a bat and when they do things like impregnate a dead body, what's born out of that is more like a zombie. That's some weird shit.
Which, like I said, they did go into that in Blood Vessel, and you don't see enough of that in movies. I feel like,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Stragoi is a lot more interesting than a vampire, if you ask me.
Well, particularly, I kind of feel because, all the rules of vampires have been established for so long, which, like I said, Bram Stoker did help lay that down. But I feel like, for a time, they were kind of narrowed down because particularly after Anne Rice's books came out in the 70s, then you had... we had a few decades of vampires have to be these sexy, old aristocrats.
Well, that's why they were selected, though.
And stuff, yeah.
They were selected to be made into vampires because they were hot.
Yeah.
You didn't want to make an ugly person. And you didn't want to make an old person into a vampire or a child. And that was part of the rules.
Well, yeah, because how fucked up would that be? Yeah. Well, like I said, they did. I mean, Anne Rice did explore that with the character of Claudia.
Why would you turn an old person into a vampire?
Yeah, it's gee, thanks. Now I have arthritis my whole life. Thanks a lot, bud.
Right. And why would you make an ugly person a vampire? Because then now they're eternal, basically, but they're gonna be have the limitations of an ugly person. So there's and that's directly spelled out. In other words, vampires were supremacists. They had everything was about being superior, or you just couldn't be a vampire. They selected superior people to become vampires. But a Strigoi, what I thought was interesting about a Strigoi, different than a fucking vampire, is they had abilities kind of like a vampire. A lot of it had to do with having sex with living people or dead people, depending on whatever they wanted, or another vampire. They could have sex with another Strigoi. They had mental abilities like maybe a psychic might have, but then at the drop of a hat, bitch will pull out some fucking bones and some dice and some tarot cards and start fucking working a magic spell, which that's kind of a fucking cool. They were witches too. It was they were witches and warlocks.
I know they had all the powers. We're all the monsters in one. Oh, by the way, I can also turn into a wolf.
I can also turn a wolf. I can do this, and then oh, by the way, hold on, let's clear the table off. And they start doing things and start doing sympathetic magic and shit, fucking, and it works. Yeah, it's weird, and it looks like a rat. It doesn't look like a person. It's a bipedal rat and they're big, testosterone infused fucking motherfucker, and its head looks like a rat or a bat.
Well, the original Dracula in Bram Stoker's novel was rat-like. I mean, he still looked like a person, but he had like rat characteristics. Yeah. Like he had pointy ears. Yeah. And he was like kind of gross looking and stinky.
Yeah, and in Blood Vessel, his wife was a fucking hot rat. Remember that? A hot rat Strigoi. It's just kind of interesting. But then they would like say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna take a human female as a wife." They could do whatever they wanted. And then that human female might be a dead human female. That's another kinky ass aspect. Just a corpse.
Yeah.
Ugh. Now it's not clear. Did they reanimate it and then impregnate it, or do they just impregnate it when it's dead? A dead corpse and a child comes out.
I don't know. Are we thinking about it too much?
Yeah,
probably.
Thinking about it too much. Yeah.
Because it just seems like if you don't need to reanimate the dead person, then you could just like shoot. Dead. Well, you could just shoot your load into like something that was like an artificial womb instead of like having to. You know.
Well, I just read about it. They didn't show it, so I'm assuming that it's just a corpse that you shoot your load into it, and what comes out is a child. It's like a zombie.
Yeah.
That's the way it read. But maybe they turn the woman into a zombie, and then that's his wife.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
Danny Rolling Ghostface, and I had actually forgotten about this. Stephen King's vampire film, The Night Flyer, has a vampire that's a hideous fucking chud as well, but also a pilot, which is how he gets around. Definitely a different take on the vampire. Yeah, I had totally forgotten about The Night Flyer. Now I have to like see that again. Just Bees for now says make a small penis vampire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making a new Candyman movie. They made a new Candyman movie. It's starting Friday. Actually, it's going to be in theaters because I think next Saturday we're going to go see it. Camp Guy said, off topic, but there is a great new Dennis Nielsen documentary on Netflix, has actual audio of recordings he made in prison. Yeah, we actually watched that. I was going to do a matinee on it, but then we watched this, and I said, well, I guess I'll do this instead. But we can do that at some other point. Although I was kind of thinking, because this is a vampire movie, and then we also have to do vampires with the Y, like the lesbian one. We have to do a matinee on that. So I said, well, why don't we do like a whole vampire week? And then we'll do like Near Dark or something like that, like on Tuesday. Because I'm also, on Thursday, I'm putting up a review of Only Lovers Left Alive, which is also a vampire movie. So I was just like, well, shit, man, we might as well just have a whole vampire palooza this week. You know, we don't have to, but we just could. Yeah, and then he also says Tom Savini, a.k.a. Sex Machine, morphed into a rat-like vampire in From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, that's right. That was his name in that movie, Sex Machine. Tom Savini. Yeah. Didn't you see From Dusk Till Dawn?
Yeah. I didn't like it.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
At the time, I didn't like it.
I haven't seen it in a long time. Yeah, Louis says, vampires with the Y. We're going to probably do that one tomorrow, because I got to watch that one tonight. Because that one was actually, because remember I said last time when we had the movie retrospective poll and there was a 3-way tie? So we did Witchfinder General, we did whatever the other one was. I think it was Graveyard Shift, and Vampires was the other one, and we just didn't have time to do it last week, so we'll probably do it this week. But yeah, so this is, like I said, they just got this one on Shudder, and I really liked it. You know what I'm saying? it's not the best movie in the world, but you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, I had a lot of fun with it. It's interesting because another criticism that I saw was that a lot of the people that get killed, because a lot of people get killed in this, weren't really like important. Like it seemed like she was just like killing people, like neighbors and stuff, and like nothing really got done about it because she was a vampire. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's I suppose so. But I heard that the Blu-ray of this had a bunch of deleted scenes, and in the deleted scenes they went a lot more into the characters that got killed, so you had like more of an attachment to them, because it's like, in one thing that I saw more than one reviewer bring this up, it's like a lot of people die in this, but it doesn't really, like, you don't know who they are exactly, it's just, or there's just like one scene with them, so it's like you don't really care if they get killed. But like I said, to me it didn't seem like that wasn't really the focus. I mean, the focus of the movie was her becoming a vampire and dealing with like, hey, this is like kind of awesome, and then her husband like trying to come to terms with her changing. So it's almost kind of like, I don't want to go off and say, oh, this is a big like metaphorical thing, but it was kind of like that. It was just kind of like these people, and they've been married a really long time, and then suddenly she's just like blossoms into this like whole different thing, and he has to come to terms with what she's like now, and like dealing with how he's treated her in the past and blah blah blah. So it's like there's some of that too, but it's not like super heavy, you know what I'm saying? It's still fun, it's still gory, and Barbara Crampton, I'll watch her in anything pretty much. I'll pretty much watch Larry Fessenden in anything too, because he's awesome.
She's good looking in this, man.
Yeah, and honestly, like every single review of this I saw, like somebody had to point out at the bottom, it's like Barbara Crampton is still hot as fuck.
Yeah, 60 something, and she still looks great.
Yeah, she really does.
Yeah, she's still attractive.
Yeah,
which that's rare or that was rare in women. I think up until recently, modern technology. It's that damn hormone therapy
and plastic surgery.
Plastic surgery too.
That helps too.
Yeah.
DJ Maniac says, I just watched Near Dark today. I really need to rewatch it, and I've been wanting to like do a matinee, so we'll do a matinee on it probably Tuesday. You better hurry because Shudder is dropping it at the end of the month. Oh, okay, well shit, it hadn't been on there that long. They just added it at the beginning of August. That sucks. Okay, well we'll watch it like Monday night maybe, and we'll do a review of it Tuesday. So because that'll still be, what the fuck's today? August 22nd. Yeah. So that'll be good. All right, so I'm going like half an hour. This is on Shudder. It's good. Check it out, especially if you like Barbara Crampton. This is a little bit short, but I have to record a panel show in a little while, so I have to kind of get ready to do that. So we'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, we'll probably be talking about Vampires with a Y, the movie from the 70s, the lesbian one. We'll probably be talking about that tomorrow. And so have a good rest of your weekend, you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Bye.